This video presents the evidence proving the innocence of Eric Sanchez in connection with an alleged aggravated assault. What follows is not opinion or speculation. It is a direct comparison between what the complaint alleges and what the objective evidence actually shows. The complaint alleges that an aggravated assault occurred on or about September 30th, 2023. That date is wrong. Video evidence records the entire encounter on Friday, September 29th, 2023 at 3:51 p.m. The video shows no assault, no weapons, and no threats. The following day, on September 30th at approximately 2:01 p.m., the complainant, Ryan Anderson, texted David Blanco describing the encounter entirely in the past tense. Blanco was not present, and Anderson was recounting what had already happened the day before. The incident could not have occurred on September 30th because it had already occurred and was already being discussed as history. The complaint alleges that the defendant pointed a knife, cornered the complainant, and caused employees to run into a room to intervene. None of that is true. The video shows the encounter took place in a large open warehouse, not an enclosed room. There is no corner, no confinement, no surrounding, and no blocked exits. No employees run in. No one intervenes. No one calls 911. The defendant is holding a phone in one hand and gesturing with the other. No knives or weapons of any kind are visible. The complainant is the only person yelling aggressively. The only witness, Adam Habel, admitted he did not see any knife. Ryan Anderson himself never claimed in his own text messages that a knife was pointed at him. That allegation appears for the first time years later, after a new investigator became involved. The complaint alleges that David Blanco was present and left with the defendant. That is false. Text messages between Anderson and Blanco confirm Blanco was not there and learned about the incident afterward. Video evidence confirms the same. The complaint relies on an arrest warrant and identity information to justify the defendant's seizure. The defendant's true and legal date of birth is August 4th, 1992, as reflected on his Texas driver's license. However, government records associated with this case reflect a different date of birth, August 14th, 1991, a date that does not belong to the defendant. That same incorrect birth date was used in a prior attempted warrant service years earlier that was also invalid. Altering or using incorrect identifying information in an official government record is not a minor clerical issue. Under Texas law, tampering with a government record may constitute a state jail felony. At minimum, it renders the warrant and identity basis legally suspect. At the time of arrest, officers refused to show the warrant when requested. The warrant was not produced at the scene and did not appear in district clerk records until approximately 1 week later. Even then, the document appears to be a faxed copy, not an original or certified scan. Its authenticity and legal legitimacy remain in question, and it is not sufficient to verify the name, date of birth, address, identifiers, or judicial authorization. The complaint alleges the complainant mailed a check out of fear that the defendant would return. That is false. Payment occurred through a formal legal settlement negotiated by the company's attorney, Yoni Gerber. There is video of the entire negotiation between Eric Sanchez and attorney Yoni Gerber. In that video, Eric prevails.
Well, that at least just gets you that's as high as I can go.
That's fine. That's fine. But that's
okay.
fine.
When would you like to come to my office to pick up the check?
And at no point does the attorney make any mention of an aggravated assault or a deadly weapon. Ryan Anderson himself claims in the video he is unable to authorize any checks.
Do I hold the account? No. Do I sign checks? No.
The check was written by Yoni Gerber. It even displays his law firm's account information. The non-disclosure agreement required Eric Sanchez to remove social media posts and refrain from discussing the settlement. However, the agreement was drafted under the wrong company name, making it legally unenforceable as written. Even so, Eric complied with the spirit of the agreement. Had he not done so, the evidence proving his innocence would have remained in the public eye, which would have prevented his arrest altogether. The agreement also contained a non-disparagement clause. Ryan Anderson violated that clause by making knowingly false statements to police. As a result, the company associated with the agreement are likely liable for all damages arising from those statements. Additionally, months after the alleged incident, Ryan Anderson's brother, Michael Vivian, owner of Texas Steel Supply, offers Eric an apology for what had happened. That is very uncharacteristic behavior. For someone to offer an apology to their brother's alleged violent knife attacker? Any reasonable person could clearly conclude this apology was genuine, as not even the owner of the company was aware of such serious claims, nor exhibited any fear in contacting Eric Sanchez. Months after the alleged incident, the defendant was made aware that Ryan Anderson may have called the police and made a false police report. Therefore, the defendant performed his due diligence to report the incident to the police and provide the video as evidence at the North Belt police station. Despite months passing, the officers assured the defendant he was not wanted for any crime and that they could not provide any documentation of Ryan Anderson's statements. The defendant contacted the station many times and nothing was ever done or investigated until Major Offenders Unit Detective J.P. Varela got involved and clearly used this false report to retaliate against the defendant for his latest investigative reporting and free speech protected activity in regards to corruption in Pasadena. Several in-custody deaths throughout the last 50 years and corruption in the district attorney's office, and 3 notable attorneys, Sam Adamo, Rusty G. Harden, and Sylvia Escobedo. During the interrogation of the defendant, Detective Varela spoke more about the attorneys than the alleged charge. This was not Detective Varela's first rodeo. He has been previously sued for engaging in the same corrupt activity in the past. When stripped of exaggeration and compared to objective evidence, this case collapses. The date is wrong. The identity is altered. The warrant is questionable. The weapon never appears. The settlement disproves fear, and the video contradicts the narrative. This is not a credibility dispute. It is a failure of proof. And when measured against the only objective evidence in the case, probable cause dissolves entirely.
In the fucking warehouse right goddamn now, and shit's gonna fucking go down.